I used to think the martini was bland and confusing. Not necessarily bad, but, well, I guess kind of bad. But I just didn't get it. A bunch of gin or vodka and then something called dry vermouth put into a glass. And there was never a real clear recipe to go off of. Everything I read was different. Everyone had opinions. Everyone said that theirs was the right martini recipe. And none of it really helped me figure out why people love this classic drink so much and how I came to love it as well over time. So instead of trying to make the perfect martini, and no, not the other cocktail that's literally called the perfect martini, I started to try to understand the makeup of the drink, what ingredients go in it, in order to find out why it's such a beloved and well-known cocktail. This isn't a masterclass. I'm not a professional bartender, nor have I ever worked behind a bar. I personally like to make drinks at home and have a passion for home bartending. One, because it's just fun, and two, because it's a heck of a lot cheaper than going out drinking, especially in this economy. So I'm still figuring this out myself, and if you ever felt lost with martinis, you're probably in the same place I was. So today we're going to zoom in on the martini, find out what it is, what it's not, and how to properly enjoy this drink. Let's get started. So before we get into making the martini, we need to establish two things. What ingredients make up a true classic martini, and the fact that two people can go into the same bar, order this same drink, maybe with a little bit different specs, and end up with a completely different drink at the end of the day. Now that could be said about a lot of cocktails, but especially the martini. But the martini can also be a pretty confusing drink to a lot of people because of how much it's been kind of butchered by pop culture over the decades. So much so that the original recipe of a martini might not even be what you think of when you think of this cocktail. Now, I'm never going to tell you what or what not to do when it comes to making your own drinks. And if you want to put a bunch of fruits and syrups into a V-shaped stem glass, that's totally fine. Just be more creative when naming it instead of an apple martini or lychee martini. Even the very famous espresso martini, which is a great cocktail by the way, has nothing to do with being a martini other than being poured into a V-shaped stemmed glass. And I think that's where we kind of lost our way with martinis over the years. It became so synonymous with like James Bond, shaken not stirred, and that classic stemmed V-shaped glass that even when you go to bars, you may see on the menu a martini section where most of the cocktails on it actually have nothing to do with a martini. It would be like if we called every drink that's served in a lowball rocks glass an old-fashioned. The martini is its own cocktail, it's its own thing, and it's just served up in a stemmed glass. It doesn't even have to be that V-shaped glass. And in fact, I actually don't even like serving it in that V-shaped glass because I think it's just way too easy to spill it. So today we're going to be making our martinis in coupes. That's how I prefer to make it. I think it looks nicer, and in general, it's just easier. So the ingredients of the original classic martini is only two, being gin and dry vermouth. And then there are two optional ingredients being the orange bitters and the garnish. That's it. Super simple, but the balance of those ingredients is, I think, what is key to making a good martini and finding the perfect martini for your own tastes. Whether your martini style is more on the dry side with a lot more gin, or on the wet side with more dry vermouth, making it more of a balanced drink. And people will argue about which martini is the best one or the proper one. Just know, if you have gin and dry vermouth, you have a martini. So don't expect a martini to taste the same at every bar either. And this may seem kind of stressful, but I think in reality it was kind of a relief for me once I realized that there was no real proper martini recipe. Because the first time I ever had a martini, it was terrible. And when I tried making martinis at home for the first time, they weren't very good either. It always felt like I was just drinking some cold gin in a glass. And that's because I was kind of going with the flow and thought that a dry gin martini was the correct martini recipe, whether that's seeing it on the websites or according to YouTube bartenders. And I like gin, by the way. I'll drink gin straight if I want to, but it's not necessarily what I think of when I think of a well-balanced cocktail. Probably the thing I drink most is straight whiskey on the rocks. But when I decide I want something more rich, more balanced, maybe a little bit of sweetness, some bitterness put together in one drink, I make an old-fashioned or a cocktail like it. So once I stopped asking what's correct or what's the consensus best recipe, and instead started to ask what do I enjoy in a drink, and what I enjoy is personally a balanced cocktail that makes the most of all the ingredients in it, and not one ingredient really overtaking the other, in most cases. So though the traditional martini has kind of drifted over the years to a very dry, gin-heavy drink, or some may even get it confused with a Vesper from Casino Royale, or some people think the martini is actually a vodka drink. Which of course you can use vodka if you prefer, you're just gonna get kind of a totally different drink in my opinion. Really using vodka kind of changes the entire drink. It's like replacing whiskey in an old fashioned. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a similar drink, but definitely not a classic whiskey old fashioned. And neither is the classic martini the same thing as the martini when you put vodka in it, if that makes sense. And then there's the whole confusion on how to make it because of kind of James Bond, the whole shaken not stirred thing. And I get that he did that because he liked to have his martinis as cold as possible. And when you shake a drink, it's usually a lot more colder than when you stir it. And if you want to shake your martini for that reason, go ahead. That's totally fine, but just understand that your drink may dilute a little bit more. It might be a little bit watered down, and you will most likely what they call bruise the gin, which is when you shake the gin heavily with ice, the gin becomes kind of cloudy and not really that silky smooth clear gin martini that maybe you want to see. Again, when making your martini, do whatever you want. It's your drink, do what's best for you. But today we're going to make the martini the traditional way, so we're going to stir it so that we can control a little bit of that dilution. And don't worry, the drink is going to be plenty cold. Now let's go ahead and get to the process of the martini. First of all, we're going to explain a little bit of the ingredients used because I think that's a good baseline to understand how to make your perfect martini. Now, when it comes to gin, there are a ton of different kinds out there, and a lot of the types are very different. I'm not going to go through all of it, but gin is basically a neutral spirit, basically made almost the same way as vodka, except gin is redistilled with botanicals, the most prominent one being juniper berry. That's what gives gin its kind of sweet, woodsy, even pine needle-like character. The most basic gin and most popular one to use is something called a London dry gin, such as Beefeater, Bombay Sapphire, Tanqueray. You can find these all pretty cheap and pretty readily available basically anywhere. But there's all kinds of gin, and every single brand has kind of its own recipe and different botanicals that they use. You got Old Tom gin, that's a little sweeter. You got Navy Strength gin, which is obviously a lot more stronger in proof. And then New World Craft gin, that's kind of exploding all over the world. That goes crazy with different botanical combinations based on where the location is. My advice is that if you're new to gin, start with something classic like a London Dry. I recommend Beefeater or Bombay so that you can taste that juniper forward flavor and see maybe if you like gin. And then branch out to see what else you like. You may like the more sweeter options like Old Tom, or you may like some of those crazy botanical flavors that you get from a New World craft gin. Today for the gin we're using is Highway 9 gin. This is a craft gin that I got from a distillery in Asheville, North Carolina. I tried it and I thought it would go great in a martini, so we're trying it for the first time today. And as always, support your local distilleries. If you're ever in a new area or even the area that you live, branch out and see what they have available. Some things might surprise you. And then we have dry vermouth, which can be pretty confusing as an ingredient. And definitely kind of confused me early on. Dry vermouth is basically a fortified wine, which means the dry vermouth specifically is a dry white wine that then a spirit is added to it in order to bump up the proof, along with a bunch of different botanicals, the main ones being wormwood, some citrus peels, and other spices, to kind of bring out more of a bitterness and complex flavor. It's very much like gin in its botanical components and its complexity, which is why I think it's such a good combination, gin and dry vermouth. So today we're using Martini and Rossi. There's a bunch of different dry vermouths out there, and they're all a little bit different in their recipes. This just happens to be very easy to find nearby and very well in my price range. But I know some other ones include Dolan and Carpano Antica if you want to get fancy. Oh, and also remember with vermouth, the fresher the better, and always refrigerate it after opening. And then for our optional ingredients, first we have the orange bitters. I'm using Angostura, but you can use any orange bitters that you want. These can be used to add just a little bit more of a citrusy element and kind of spice it up a little more. I'm just going to use one dash. And then there's the garnish. You can go one of two ways. You can do a lemon spritz over the top for more of a citrusy aroma on the first couple sips, or you can add a savory olive to get a little salinity in there and maybe add a nice little martini soaked olive snack at the end of your drink. Some people go pretty crazy with the olives, and I haven't even mentioned the dirty martini, which uses olive brine in the recipe. I'm going to stay away from that one for now, but maybe I'll do that another time. Now, I'm definitely going to do a lemon spritz in my martini because I love that lemon aroma in the first few sips, but I also do like a good olive in my martini. I won't be doing that today just because when tasting the two different ones I'm going to make today, I can be able to taste all the ingredients together and not having maybe a salty, cheesy olive getting in the way of that palate. But for the record, I usually do like both garnishes in my martinis. Now to make the drink, of course, grab your mixing glass. You don't need a fancy one or anything. If you have a measuring cup or even just a cup that can hold at least 3 ounces of liquid and a bunch of ice cubes, that's fine too. We're going to be making 2 martinis today so that I can personally test out a few different specs and kind of show you my process for how I found the martini that I personally like. I think a minimum of 3 ounces is required for the martini, and we're going to dilute it with ice, so at the end it's going to be about 4 to 4.5 ounces of the drink. Now I'm going into this knowing that the wetter version of this cocktail is my preferred martini, and then I'm also trying a slightly more dry version and see if I end up liking that one better. So for the more balanced wet version of the martini, we're going to first add 1 dash of our orange bitters, then do 2 full ounces of gin, and then 1 ounce of dry vermouth. A very nice 2-to-1 ratio. Add that with lots of ice and then stir. We want about 50 stirs, or until the ice in the glass starts to fully sink into the drink and the outer part of the glass starts to frost up. That means that we know the drink is cold and diluted well. Go ahead and strain that off into your chilled coupe glass. I actually realized I didn't have a strainer for my mixing glass, so I actually had to pour it into my shaker in order to then strain it off into the glass. Then go ahead and spritz on top of that lemon peel. You can drop it in if you want, but instead I'm just going to cast it aside. And there you go, there's your 2-to-1 more balanced wet martini. Now for the drier martini, we're going to be sticking with that 1 dash of orange bitters, but this time we're going to do 2.25 ounces gin and then 0.75 ounces dry vermouth. So we took away 1/4 ounce of our dry vermouth and we added that to the gin instead. This may not seem like a huge change, but trust me, it's gonna matter in the final product. Now stir away that same way, about 50 stirs, strain into your glass, and then add your lemon spritz on top. Now let's go in for the tasting for the martinis and see which one I like better. We're gonna start off with the wet version. I love that. Silky smooth. I love this this gin that we used for it. It's not too high in the proof. It's only a 90 proof, which is pretty typical. Usually gins are around 90 to 95 proof, unless you get that navy strength. But really good. I can kind of taste a lot of the botanicals of the gin and of the dry vermouth as well. And I like it that it doesn't burn too much and is very packed with flavor, but it still is bold enough and strong enough to where I definitely know I'm drinking a martini. Very good drink, very good. And now for the drier version of the martini. This is the 2.25 ounce gin and 0.75 ounce vermouth. Interesting. Definitely very different. A lot more burn on that, even though it was only 1/4 ounce more. But I think also taking back that dry vermouth also kind of added to a little bit of that burn. I actually really like it though. Honestly, they're both really good. This one is definitely a little bit more on the drier side, obviously. And this one is definitely more balanced. So I think depending on your mood, if you're in the mood for something more balanced, I would go with this version. But if you really want to kind of try out a new gin that you're using and really be able to taste a lot more of the gin and see if you really like it, then maybe go for the drier version. Because of this one, I definitely get a lot more of the character of the gin that I'm using, whereas this one just tastes like kind of a more balanced cocktail. Maybe I don't taste the full character of the gin I'm using, but it maybe tastes a little better having a little bit more of that dry vermouth to kind of balance it out. Again, whatever you prefer, and I kind of went into this knowing which recipe I kind of like more. But if you haven't had a martini that you've particularly liked, try to find out why you didn't like it and then try to tinker with it to kind of find your own personal recipe. It's that kind of tinkering with the recipe and finding out what I liked in a martini that kind of made me love the drink. If you want to try this at home and really go crazy with it, you can even try doing a martini matrix. You know, using that 3-ounce template, you can make maybe 4 to 5 different martinis with different ratios until you find the one that's perfect for you. You know, don't just copy what someone else put on the internet. Don't even copy me. As always, find what you like. And then when you go to a bar or when you're out at a restaurant and you want to order this cocktail, you can even tell the bartender what specs that you want it. And if they're a decent bartender, they should be able to make it. And this is the kind of thing that made the drink click for me. I knew I would like a martini because I liked the ingredients that it was made out of. And I finally understood what those ingredients were and how they work together. I just never put them together the right way. And that's what I love about mixology. That's what I love about home bartending in general, and why I want to spread that information and encourage you that if you've never had a martini or any cocktail that hasn't worked for you, you're not wrong for not liking it or anything. Maybe you just haven't met the perfect version for you. But if you got a way you like yours, I want to hear about it. I'm still trying to figure this stuff out myself too. And while I got these two in front of me, just gonna add a nice savory blue cheese olive to these. All right, time to go finish these off. Anyways, I hope you guys have a blessed day and a great week. And thanks again for all the support of my channel. So grateful for you guys. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Jags Japan content. See you later.